Welcome to the Quiet Your Inner Mean Girl podcast. I'm your host, Abby Hegney, and I am here to help you create habits that last, lose weight for good, and feel confident in your own skin while living the life that you love. I am a board-certified health and weight loss coach, and I believe that no matter how busy your life is or how many things that you have tried in the past, you can lose the weight that you want to lose and confidently keep it off. Every week, I bring you simple, real-life tips to help you do just that. Because weight lost, living the life that you love, is weight lost forever. Let's dive in. Welcome back to episode 92. I had a very different topic that I was going to bring to you today, and I still want to bring it to you, but I found myself really putting off sitting down and recording the episode. Even sitting down and thinking about the outline of how I wanted to present that topic to you. And as the days went by, one at a time, I was like, okay, I really need to sit down and I really need to record that podcast. I need to get my thoughts together. I just found that I wasn't doing it. And then this morning, I got up, I did my workout, I got the kids ready for school. And when I was in the shower, I was thinking about how I really did not want to get up this morning. My son had a late hockey game last night, and so our entire evening schedule was thrown off, and I got to bed much, much later than I normally do. And so getting out of bed this morning and getting up to do my workout really was the last thing that I wanted to do when my alarm got off. And so I was thinking about this in the shower. And of course, we do all of our best thinking in the shower, right? And I had this thought that has completely changed my life. It changes the way in which I approach everything. And when I realized this in the shower, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I have to bring to the podcast this week. And so maybe there was a reason that I was procrastinating. Maybe there was a reason that I wasn't sitting down and getting my thoughts together and I didn't sit down and hit record on the podcast that I wanted to bring to you this week, because it wasn't the podcast that I was supposed to bring you this week. This week, I was meant to bring you today's podcast, which is all about what I am calling the after theory. And the reason that I'm calling it the after theory is because the thing that actually sparked this in my own brain this morning, again, in the shower, was that I was thinking about how I got up and how I did that workout as much as I didn't feel like doing it. And I started thinking about Mel Robbins. If you follow Mel Robbins, she has this 5-second theory. And within the 5-second theory, it's like you count down from 5 all the way to 1. And when you hit 1, you just get up and you do the thing. And I was thinking about how I think that's a fantastic approach for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for me. I have tried it. And what ends up happening is I just end up at 1 and I'm still like, nope, don't feel like doing it. So it's like, yeah, I'm not the rocket. I just don't feel like doing it. And it's the same thing as if you've ever heard the approach where people tell you, if you feel like snacking, go and brush your teeth. That never worked for me either. I just ended up snacking and my snack tasted like peppermint toothpaste. And the reason for that is because it never actually changed the stories that I was telling myself. My inner mean girl would still be there saying, yeah, you don't feel like it. Nah, don't want to do it, right? I what? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, nah. I just want to stay in bed. And same thing when I'd brush my teeth and be like, yeah, but I still want that snack. And so for me, those approaches never worked, right? It didn't change the mindset in which I was approaching things. And our mindset is the foundation in which we do everything and anything. And so, as I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about Mel Robbins and her 5 4 3 2 1 or 5 second theory, I was like, no, for me, it's the after theory. When I drop into the after, everything changes for me. That is when I make the most empowered decisions. That is when I make decisions that move me closer to where I want to be. That is when I don't need motivation to be there in order for me to do the things that I know ultimately I want to do. I don't need motivation to be the reason that I'm either reaching my goals or I don't. It all comes down to the decision when you lead with the after theory. And so, what the after theory is that you think about how you are going to feel after you do the thing that you're thinking about doing. Or maybe it's not doing something too, right? We think about action as I'm always doing something, but sometimes taking action and taking the most aligned and most confident action is to not do some things, not fall into old patterns, not fall into old behaviors, not fall into old habits and old ways of thinking. Right. So when I say like doing something, that may also mean not doing something. But when you can take yourself to the after, that is when you give yourself the opportunity to make an empowered decision, regardless of whether you feel like it, whether you have the energy, whether you think you have the time or not, whether you quote unquote want to do it, whether you have the motivation, because the truth is, we don't need those things in order to make decisions. And the best decisions that we can make are the decisions that we make that align with the things that we want, how we want to feel, habits that we want to create, confidence that we want to feel, consistency that we want in our lives, examples that we want to set, the way in which we want to be living our lives, those don't happen in how we feel in the moment. Those happen when we think about how we will feel, what it will create in our lives, what will be different if we do the thing that we're thinking about doing, the thing that we have the opportunity to either talk ourselves into or talk ourselves out of it. And this has literally changed every aspect of my life. Every morning, my alarm goes off and I do not feel like getting out of bed. It is dark outside, especially now with the daylight savings. I love the later sunset, but it is dark in the morning. It is still cold in the morning here in Connecticut, right? The bed is always more comfortable. There are a million reasons that I could talk myself in to staying in bed. And this morning I almost did that. My alarm went off and I was like, maybe today is just not the day. I'm so comfortable. I got to bed so much later. I didn't get as much sleep as I normally do. Maybe I should just stay here. I should just take the day. And there's nothing wrong with taking the day. I'm not saying that you have to always be on. I want you to make the decision that makes you feel good on the other side of that moment. Because in the moment, staying in bed felt better. But then I remembered how valuable that morning workout is for my day. I thought about how much energy I gain from getting up and having that time for me. I thought about the patience that I have with my kids when I first have time for myself in the morning. I thought about how much more calm I settle into, how much more grounded I feel, how much better I manage stress and the unexpected twists and turns of the day. I thought about how much more presence I have with my kids when I feel taken care of. I thought about how much better I manage like their tiredness and their frustrations and their arguing when I know that I have taken that time for myself. I thought about how good I feel when I'm in it. As soon as I start a workout, as much as I don't want to do it, as little motivation as I may have, as soon as I start it, I feel so good. And I'm always proud of the work that I put in. I never regret the time that I take for myself in the morning. So, as much as I wanted to stay in bed today, as much as it would have been so much easier and more comfortable to stay in bed, I got up, I did the workout, and I felt so proud. But the thing that got me out of bed was not motivation. It was not even desire, right? My initial desire was comfort and ease of staying in bed. The thing that got me out of bed was the after. And as I was thinking about this in the shower, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I approach everything in my life. Everything. I think about how is this going to make me feel when I make this decision, when I do this thing, or I don't do this thing, right? If I'm out with friends, how am I going to feel if I have one more drink? When I even signing up kids, right, for activities. I'm like, how am I going to feel if I add one more activity to our plate? Right? Like, does this feel exciting for me? Does it feel good? Am I going to want to go to these practices and add this other thing to my list, right? How am I going to feel if I choose to make dinner tonight or order takeout? Both are always an option, right? But every decision that I make comes from, well, I'll say the majority of the decisions I make because we are human, right? We all have times where maybe we don't do what we typically do, or, we fall out of our own ways, even when our own ways make us feel good. But the majority of the time, I make decisions from the after. And I know people will say, yeah, but aren't you supposed to live in the moment? Absolutely. You're supposed to live your life for the moments, right? And the moments that we have and be grateful for whatever life brings our way. But when we are living in this place of just seeking comfort and ease and just like immediate satisfaction, that actually takes us out of living the life that we want to be living. It takes us farther away from feeling healthier and more confident in our own skins. It takes us out of the consistency that we want to build. It takes us away from the confidence that we want to feel. It takes us away from the weight that we want to lose because if we're always living for how we feel in the moment, we will never take the steps to reach our goals because that will never feel comfortable. Comfort is what we know. It's old habits, it's old patterns, it's old mindsets, it's old behaviors. And so when you live or you make decisions for how you feel in the moment, you will create more of what you have. You will create more tiredness, more lack of time, more lack of motivation, right? Maybe more comfort, but not comfort in a good sort of way. Comfort in this is just easy. But when you think about the after and you think about what the after will bring you, you'll start to make different decisions. You'll start to show up differently. You'll start to feel so much better because you're no longer going to be living in the regret of, I wish I would have done that. I know every time that I'm like, oh, I wish or every time I don't get up and start the day on my terms, the way that I want to start it, whether that's a workout or a slow morning or however it like really is, like the thing that I really want, whenever I don't do that, there's always a thought of, I wish I would have. And when you make decisions using the after theory, you let go of all of that regret. You let go of any of the guilt. You actually build motivation and momentum because what you start to realize is that you never needed them in the first place. You're the source of them. All you need to do is make decisions. And all you really need to do is make decisions in alignment with what you really want, with how you want to feel, with the habits that you want to create, the weight that you want to lose. And when you do that, when you focus on the after, it creates so much freedom in your life because then everything starts to fit. Days off start to fit, right? Because you're like, no, I think about the after, and the after is I really need to take a day off. I want to rest my body. Recovering today is going to build me back stronger tomorrow. Resting my body and not working out or not moving is the best choice for me because I'm making it from that desire of how I'm going to feel when I don't do a workout, when I choose to rest instead. Enjoying the birthday cake or the dessert, right? From the place of, yeah, I'm going to feel really good that I enjoyed that. And I'm going to enjoy it in a way in which makes me feel good. I'm not having the dessert because I think, I've messed up and I've already fallen off track. So what's the point? I'm not having the dessert as a reward because I earned it and I deserve it. I'm not having the dessert because it's my cheat day. It's like, no, I'm having the dessert because having the dessert and allowing dessert to fit in my life in this way feels good to me. That doesn't mean I'm having dessert all of the time, but when I do have dessert, I do it in a way that makes me feel good. I make the intentional choices. It also allows you to say no more freely. I can say no to the dessert. I can say no to the extra glass of wine. I can say no to the workout. I can say no to my kids doing another activity when I'm like, absolutely, that is going to be the thing that stresses me out. It's not worth it. As much as I want them to experience all of the things, we have limits. And we have limits that I love on because I also really value downtime. I really value time for our family. I value my kids having free time, right? And being highly structured and running here, there, and everywhere all of the time doesn't always feel good. But that all comes from focusing on the after. So many of us make decisions for how we feel in the moment. And I really want to encourage you to start thinking about, but how will I feel after I do this? How will I feel when I make this decision? How will I feel when I say no to this thing or I say yes to this thing? How will I feel afterwards? And if it feels good, if you take yourself to the after and it feels good, you feel proud, you feel accomplished, you feel confident in the decision that you made, go for it. That is the best decision for you. But if you see the after and you see any guilt, any resentment, any discouragement, any frustration, any stress that you don't want to handle, that you aren't willing to go through, then the answer is absolutely no. And the way in which you say no will be so different because you know that that no is coming from a place of the deepest self love for you, for your life, for your family, for your friends. But it all comes from the after. And so that is what I wanted to bring you today. I have just had so much change in my life when I stopped telling myself, I'm too busy, I don't have the time, I don't feel like it, I don't want to. And I started thinking about, but how will I feel when I do this? What if this is the thing that I do today that actually gives me the energy? That was one of the thoughts that I had this morning. I was tired. I didn't want to get out of bed, but I was like, but what if this is the thing that I need? And you know what? It turns out it was exactly what I need. And because I took that time, I have so much more energy and I've been so much more productive than I would have been if I just stayed in bed. If I had stayed in bed, I kind of would have been going through the day. I'm like, meh, eh. Just kind of checking the boxes and going through the motions. I want you to stop checking the boxes. I want you to stop just going through the motions. I want you to stop making decisions because you don't feel like it in the moment and really think about that. How often do you feel like doing the things that you know ultimately you want to do? It is probably very little. If you're anything like me and most human beings out there, it is probably very little because our natural human tendency is to seek pleasure, to avoid pain and discomfort. And that's going to be doing the most comfortable, easy thing in the moment, which will always be your old habits, your old patterns, the old ways in which you speak to yourself. But if you want to change it all and you want to change it with ease, you have to start thinking about the after. You have to think, okay, if I quiet this negative self-talk of my inner mean girl and I don't fall victim to the I don't feel like it, how would I be speaking to myself? What would I need to remind myself of? How would I feel? And chase that feeling. Chase the after. I promise you, if you chase the after, you will have more energy, you will have more confidence, you will create more consistency in your life. You will create the habits that you wanted to create. You will lose the weight that you want to lose, and you will do it all feeling calm and grounded and with so much more ease than if you're constantly in the state of making decisions for how you feel in the moment. All right, my friends, that is the after theory. I want you to go out and start living it today. And I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on this episode, and especially what changes for you when you start to implement this. All right, I hope that you love this episode, and I will be back next week. If you are loving this podcast, please subscribe, rate, or review. Or if you know someone who would benefit from this message, please share it with them. And if you are ready to quiet your inner mean girl, to create habits that make you feel amazing, to lose weight and confidently keep it off while living the life that you love, I invite you to schedule your complimentary 60-minute consultation. We'll discuss where you are, where you want to be, and how my Quiet Your Inner Mean Girl method can help you create the future that you want. You can find the link to book your call in the show notes, or you can also connect with me directly on Instagram at Wellness with Abby H. I can't wait to talk to you.